In this video, we're going to talk about how to build a world-class logo for your brand. Now, logos are a funny thing. Most people pay an awful lot of money to get their logo created. You know, big brands and big companies pay vast amounts to get logos and branding, but you don't need to spend money or any money really. You just need to make a bit of an effort. I mean, if you go onto a website or a service like 99 Designs, it can cost $300, $500 to get a really good logo created, and there's no guarantee you're going to get anything good either. And I would much rather spend, and I'm sure you would, $300 or $400, $500 on inventory and not on a logo. It is surprisingly easy to create one yourself. You just have to put the effort in, and it doesn't take very long either. So what I recommend is to actually get Photoshop. Now, Photoshop used to be incredibly expensive. I think it used to be about $700 or something like that. But now they do monthly billing, and you actually get 30 days for free. Just need to remember, unless you want to continue, to cancel your subscription before the 30 days is out. But even if you don't, I think it's only $30 or $40 a month or something like that. And it's something I use all the time. And becoming semi-proficient in it is definitely a good idea, because you can actually save vast amounts of money doing things yourself versus getting a graphic designer to do them. And in the last year alone, just by doing some of the graphic design work myself, I've saved, literally thousands, literally thousands of dollars. So what you'll need to do is to go to, I don't know the exact link, I think it's photoshop.com/products, and you can find the download link for Photoshop there. So download it, and then once you've done that, and it takes a little bit of time, then you can begin playing around with Photoshop and creating your logo. So I don't really want to make this Photoshop tutorial because I'm not really an expert in Photoshop at all. I know the basics, which saves me money, and that's all that matters. So when you have it open, first of all, you need to create a new image, and you do that by going new, and then it'll give you options to create an image here. So put it in pixels. You can start off with 600 by 200 pixels just to create this kind of shape here. This is basically your palette that you can work on. So press OK. Let's use the Artisize brand name. Not a great brand name, but I found it in a couple of minutes, but just as a working example. So first of all, you need to click this text button down here, the T button, and draw a line. Make sure you've actually got some color on it so you can see. Oh, actually, I know the reason why it's so small, because it's 6 points. Okay. There we go. So let's put it in capitals. So art is size. It's going to be artisize.com, but you don't actually have to include the .com, or you shouldn't include the .com on your domain name. And we'll just make this just a little bit bigger. You can adjust the size of the font up here. Let's make it 70. I think that's going to be sufficient for now. So once you've created the text, if you just highlight the text here and then click up here, you can run through. That Photoshop has a huge amounts of fonts which are free fonts, and you don't need to really have anything particularly out there. I mean, if you look at the fonts on the logos for major brands like Facebook, I think Facebook use sort of Arial, or they use something very, very standard. They just make it look good by just playing about the spacing. But just for this example, as a very quick example, I quite like Helvetica Regular. So let's make it that for now. Then you can just sort of play about with it really. You can make it a darker color. In this case, I would probably you could make the art a different color than the size. something like that. And really, that's that's all there is to it. I mean, you're going to have to play about with it, play with different fonts, play with the size, and then once you've done this, all you need to do is save the image as a JPEG or as a PSD file. So you would do that by naming it logo, saving as Photoshop PSD, and then sending this to your manufacturer, who will put it on your product. Now there are a few other options you have here. If you don't find a font that you like, you can always use this great service. Well, it's not really a service, it's a free website, 1001 Fonts. And basically what you can do, you can put your brand name in here. So you just type it in. I've already done this to save time. And then you can test different fonts and different sizes. You can look at futuristic, and then you can scroll down and see anything which looks good. They have thousands of fonts, and I mean, what type of font you use really depends on what product you have. But then if you if you see something that looks good, you basically download the font, then you upload that font into Photoshop, and then you can create that font, create your brand name in that font, and then export it, then send it to your manufacturer. So that's another option if you can't find anything that you particularly like in Photoshop in terms of fonts. The other thing you can do is to add another, like a logo. You can find images like this everywhere online which are free to use. And in this case, you just duplicate the layer, send it to your new image, to your new logo, then you can just drag it and save that image, make it smaller, etc., etc. Have it here, twist it around. There are all sorts of things you can do. You just have to have a play with it. If you wanted to make this white space smaller, so just to crop it, you just go to this tool here, and then you drag it in like so. Press the arrow button, press crop, and there you have it. So it's not a brilliant example, but it's a sort of a demonstration that you can create a logo. It doesn't, you don't have to have anything particularly, incredible, because if you look at the big brands, their logos, their actual text-based logos, are nothing special. They use regular fonts. They just need to, it just needs to stand out. And it really only takes you a short amount of time to do, and it can save you a lot of money versus getting a graphic designer to do it. Of course, you can get a graphic designer, but it will just cost you. So I prefer to use this method, and I do exactly the same thing with every single brand I create. I save money, and I do it myself in Photoshop. And you can use Photoshop for free for 30 days, which gives you ample time to create your own logo.